It's the 1930s, and the Japanese had just taken over Korea. Life is hard under the Japanese occupation, especially for the common Korean people. A poor Korean girl is seen giving her goodbye to her family as it looks like she has to leave them for a while. It turns out she leaves them to become the personal maid, or more accurately, the handmaiden of a Japanese heiress. After spending some time in a car, she reaches a massive mansion where her future master and her prominent family live. She is greeted by the cold head maid Sasaki and introduces herself as Okju, a common Korean girl who will serve the Japanese heiress as her new handmaiden. Sasaki then shows her around the elegant Western Japanese-styled mansion and explains the basic rules. Her main task is to help with anything that Lady Hideko needs in her daily life. As it's already night, she goes straight to bed and plans to introduce herself to Lady Hideko first thing in the morning. Suddenly, Okju hears a high-pitched scream in the middle of the night. She runs from her little sleeping space towards the sound. It turns out Lady Hideko just had a nightmare. She looks scared and tells Okju about her lunatic aunt who hung herself at the big cherry tree just beside the mansion. Although it is her first time meeting Lady Hideko, she tries her best to calm her master and soothe her back to bed. In the morning, one of the other maids pranks her by hiding one side of her shoes. This makes Okju only wear her left shoe when she formally introduces herself to Lady Hideko for the first time. The scared little girl that she soothed back to bed now looks like a proper elegant and charming lady. Okju then shows Lady Hideko a reference letter from her last mistress to show how capable she is. Lady Hideko asks her to read the letter, but despite being able to speak both Korean and Japanese, Okju is illiterate. This makes Okju a little worried, but Lady Hideko doesn't mind it. She just needs Okju always to be truthful to her. After noticing that Okju only wearing one of her shoes, Lady Hideko gives her a new pair of shoes from her collection. After that, Lady Hideko goes to her reading practice session and tells her to come to her at noon. This makes Okju thinks that the cold yet elegant and lonely princess-looking Lady Hideko hides a kind and caring nature behind her. While alone, she becomes more curious and explores Lady Hideko's room. She tries on various clothes and plays with various accessories carefully. It looks like she enjoys her new working environment. As instructed, Okju stops playing around at noon and goes to the reading room to meet Lady Hideko. She meets the master of the mansion for the first time, which is Uncle Kozuki. He is an eccentric person with a black tongue due to his habit of licking ink. Unlike Lady Hideko, who is of full Japanese descent, Uncle Kozuki is actually from Korea. But he married to the late lunatic aunt of Lady Hideko, who hung herself at the cherry tree. Due to the absence of Lady Hideko's late parent, Uncle Kozuki becomes the master of the mansion even though Lady Hideko is the real heiress. As a Korean man who helped the Japanese take over Korea, the Japanese gave him control of a gold mine. He then uses this wealth to feed his obsession with expensive rare books and scripts. After her reading practice, Lady Hideko is expecting an important guest. So she asks Okju to prepare her a warm bath to refresh herself. While helping her take a bath, Okju realizes how magnificent is Lady Hideko's beauty and becomes enchanted by it. She almost can't control herself but then snaps back to reality. Not long after that, the guest has come. He is Count Fujiwara, a Japanese nobleman who is also Lady Hideko's painting teacher. He is also the one who referred Okju to work there. After greeting Lady Hideko, Count Fujiwara goes to his room to rest. But suddenly, he summons Okju to his room alone. What is going on? It seems like there is something fishy between the two of them. It is soon revealed that nothing is as it seems. Okju's real name is Suki. She is an orphan raised by the legendary purveyor of stolen goods, Misboxen. Suki's own mother was also a legendary thief. She grows up learning to pickpocket and forge stamps. There are other such orphan girls who have been raised by Misboxen. Count Fujiwara is also a con man who is actually not even a Japanese man. He approached Misboxen's group and invited them to join his cunning scheme. He has identified a certain single Japanese heiress, Lady Hideko, who he wants to marry to inherit her fortune. He asks Suki to play as a handmaiden, become his ears, and gently persuade Lady Hideko to fall in love with Count Fujiwara. Suki agrees to join his plan for a sum of money from the inheritance. After Fujiwara gets the inheritance, he plans on declaring Lady Hideko insane and then sends her off to a mental asylum. Sounds evil? To them, the Japanese are invaders who make them suffer, so this is just a little payback. Back in the room, Count Fujiwara tells Saki to give a box to Lady Hideko. Inside it is a beautiful blue spinner earring and a personal letter. It's a gift to try to melt Lady Hideko's heart. After receiving it, Lady Hideko wears it for dinner, making her look glorious in her elegant white dress. Saki herself can't help but admire Lady Hideko's fabulousness. After dinner, Lady Hideko becomes a little drunk. She dolls up Sok in an elegant black dress and lets her wear the blue spinel earring, making Saki as beautiful as her. Saki enjoys this side of Lady Hideko and plays along with her master. The bond she made with Lady Hideko gives Saki second thoughts about the plan. But she tries as hard as she can to stick to it. Until on one fine day, she accidentally sees Count Fujiwara and Lady Hideko passionately kissing in the woods. For some reason, this confuses her and kinda hurt her feeling. She quickly runs back to her room. In the night, Lady Hideko asks Saki to accompany her to the bed. She tells Saki that Count Fujiwara has proposed to her earlier that day, but she doesn't know how to react. Saki immediately thinks that it must be when they kiss passionately in the woods. Unsure how to react, Saki approached carefully. Lady Hideko then asks if Saki is experienced with men and asks her to teach her. Tempted by her lust, Saki proceeds to kiss Lady Hideko on the lips to guide her to the world of adults. She touches her, embraces her, and one thing leads to another, they end up losing control and enjoying each other for the night. A forbidden act between a handmaiden and her master. The next day, Count Fujiwara still continues his attempt and becomes bolder. Maybe he sees the kiss yesterday as a positive signal and plans to devour Lady Hideko. Saki knows about it and prevents it. This, of course, angers Count Fujiwara. He reminds Saki about the plan and the sweet reward at the end. Although she seems unsure now, Saki ends up agreeing to continue the plan as long as Count Fujiwara doesn't stretch his lust for Lady Hideko too far. Before bed that day, Saki thinks it is better if Lady Hideko accepts the proposal soon before Count Fujiwara can corrupt her further, so she goes to Lady Hideko and suggests accepting the proposal. But Lady Hideko now seems not bothered much by the proposal. She says that she is already happy as long as Saki is with her at the mansion. She then asks Saki whether she should still accept the proposal if she is in love with another person now. Unsure about the question, Saki persuades her to accept the proposal even harder. Saki's reaction somehow disappoints Lady Hideko. She slaps Saki and casts her out of her room. On the following day, Lady Hideko finally decides to accept Count Fujiwara's proposal. Happy about it, Count Fujiwara plans the wedding right away. Lady Hideko, with the help of Saki, runs away from the mansion on the day when Uncle Kozuki is away for business. From Korea, they head to Japan to have a secret wedding. During the trip, Saki notices that Lady Hideko keeps gazing at her. Although it's hard for her heart, she tries to ignore it. Finally, Lady Hideko and Count Fujiwara hold their marriage at a small remote sketchy Japanese temple shrine. In the night, while Saki prepares Lady Hideko for her first night, Lady Hideko tries to kiss her for the last time, but Saki refuses her. Saki endures the bitter feeling in her heart all night as she sleeps beside the room where Lady Hideko is being devoured by Count Fujiwara. In the morning, Saki goes to check on Lady Hideko. She hates what she sees, but there is no use crying over spilled milk. All she can do now is wait for Count Fujiwara to certify the marriage and cash out Lady Hideko's inheritance. As time goes on, Saki fears that Lady Hideko will truly go mad. The innkeeper is watching them on behalf of Count Fujiwara, so running away together is not an option. Finally, Count Fujiwara brings a bag full of jewelry and cash. A complete victory for their plan. Saki accepts her part with mixed feelings. Now, the only thing they need to do is to put Lady Hideko inside a mental asylum. Not long after that, the psychiatrists from the mental asylum come to interview Saki. They ask her about the condition of Lady Hideko. With Count Fujiwara and Saki working together, convincing them would be easy. Their plan is working, and they are now outside of a mental asylum. Saki hugs Lady Hideko for the last time as she hears the scream from inside the mental asylum and becomes startled. She jumps a few steps back with an empty stare. Without knowing anything, she has become the victim of Count Fujiwara and Saki's devious plan. But is it actually true? Unexpectedly, instead of grabbing Lady Hideko, they try to apprehend Saki. They think that Saki is Lady Hideko. She tries to explain to them that Lady Hideko is not her, but Count Fujiwara and Lady Hideko just stand there and make them detain Saki under the name of Lady Hideko. She immediately realized that she had been betrayed by Count Fujiwara and possibly by Lady Hideko too. But is it true? To uncover the truth, let's take a few steps back. Lady Hideko lost his mother just after she was born. With no father present, she was raised strictly by Uncle Kozuki. He is a Korean man who is married to her mom's sister. Uncle Kozuki is obsessed with rare books. But not just any rare books, he specially dealt in rare erotic art and text. The usual reading practice session Lady Hideko does with her uncle is in fact him teaching her to read sadistic pornography since she was 5 years old erotically. To secure funds, he held auctions for the books and arts where her aunt read the erotic books to collectors. He also sold forgeries to accumulate money and books further. One day, Uncle Kozuki caught her aunt trying to run away, so he tortured her in a secret torture room in the basement. The psychological and physical abuse gradually degrades the sanity of Hideko's aunt, who is eventually found hanging from a tree in the yard, and so Lady Hideko takes over as the reader for the auctions. Uncle Kozuki also plans to marry his own niece when the time has come to secure the inheritance money. Count Fujiwara initially planned to execute the scheme alone. He approaches Uncle Kozuki at one of his auctions and claims to be a Japanese nobleman with a skill of art forgery, so Uncle Kozuki hires him to forge art for him. He then persuades Uncle Kozuki to let him be the painting teacher for Lady Hideko. But after interacting with Lady Hideko, he realizes she is not naive and stone-hearted. There is no chance of getting her to fall in love with him. So instead, he reaches out to Lady Hideko and tells her the truth. He proposes a plan to get her away from this abusive life of hers. He will bring a naive girl who will come in as a handmaiden and trick her into thinking that she is the one who is doing the scam. Once they get married, Lady Hideko will switch identities with the handmaiden, and they will send the handmaiden to a mental asylum. This would grant Lady Hideko her freedom at the cost of the handmaiden's life, then split the inheritance money with Count Fujiwara. Hearing such a perfect plan, Lady Hideko agrees. Since the arrival of Saki at the mansion, Lady Hideko is already acting to condition her state of mind into believing the bogus plan. She shows all her clothes and jewelry to Suki to make her more gullible. Fujiwara instructs Lady Hideko to act naive but hesitates to fall in love with him. This would ensure that Suki is kept busy with her task of playing Cupid. But unexpectedly, Lady Hideko and Suki develop chemistry. They get attracted to each other, a forbidden feeling for a master and her servant. It turns out that on the night when Lady Hideko slaps Saki, she tries to follow her aunt and tries to hang herself from the same tree where her aunt lost her sanity. Fortunately, Saki notices and stops her foolish act. In the midst of the moment, Saki comes clean and confesses her true feeling to Lady Hideko. She also tells her about Count Fujiwara's plan. Now that she is glad to hear how Saki's true feeling is, Lady Hideko also comes clean and confesses her feeling to Saki. On top of that, she also tells Saki about Count Fujiwara's real plan. They decide to take matters into their own hand. They start by destroying all of the cursed collection of Uncle Kozuki. After that, they play along with what Count Fujiwara has planned. Across the journey from Korea to Japan, they actually act all lovey-dovey secretly. And for the sake of our sanity, the blood on Lady Hideko's first night bed is only fake blood to make Count Fujiwara believe that they are still trying to fool Saki. Saki also comes to the asylum prepared. She stages a fire and escapes in the midst of chaos. Meanwhile, still believing his plan has worked, Count Fujiwara takes Lady Hideko to a fancy dinner. He proposes to her for real now. But Lady Hideko plays hard to get and acts voluptuously. She seduces him at the hotel and drugs his wine with hard opium. When Count Fujiwara is out cold, she takes all the money and goes to meet the escaped Saki. Missing her niece and with a destroyed treasured collection, Uncle Kozuki sends out a search party. His only suspect is Count Fujiwara. The search party finds the out-cold Count Fujiwara and brings him back to the mansion. In the same basement where Uncle Kozuki tortured his own wife, he interrogates Count Fujiwara. Knowing that Uncle Kozuki will dismember his body anyway in the end, moreover starting with his private part, he tricks Uncle Kozuki into letting him smoke for the last time. He has 3 green-colored cigarettes in his case, which are poisoned with mercury. The gaseous mercury poison saves Count Fujiwara from the torture that he is about to endure and kills them both. Far away from there, Saki and Lady Hideko fake their identification and flee to Shanghai. With all of the inheritance intact and their newly found freedom, they finally find their true happiness in each other. Hopelessness breeds boldness. Defiance isn't easy, and freedom isn't guaranteed. Love provokes us, encourages us, strengthens us, and entertains us. All at once. At the same time. And that is what life is all about. Do you think Saki and Lady Hideko has found their true happiness? Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.